Hey y'all. Today I wanted to show you a dark rune farm in Scholomance. Scholomance dark rune farm, rather. So I'm here at Chillwind Camp right now, and there's two things. Well, there's one thing here. I like to buy the enriched mana biscuits from the guy just because, as a Shadow Priest, you don't really have much healing capability. So the enriched mana biscuits, they cover health and food. They're really nice to just eat after a fight. That way you don't have to spend mana getting yourself back up. So he's right there, and you can sell to him. For Scholomance Dark Rune farming, I like to have on my ZHC and I like to have on my Rune of the Dawn so that way I can get the bonus spell power against the undead and I can also get the Scourge Stones for the reputation. So a lot of my gear here is off spec. I'm actually a Holy Priest by nature. This is not my main. My main's a Warlock, but my main spec on this tune is Holy. So I've just got, some spell power, spell power, spell power. Crit does you some good here, but for the most part, you just want spell power on all your stuff and maybe a little bit of hit too. The hit is really nice um, for making sure that your mind controls don't get resisted out or like fail mid mind control or anything. That might happen here, and I'll show you how to recover from that. But for the most part, you just want spell power, and if you can't get your hands on spell power, then you want some stuff that's going to give you nice defenses, which actually also comes from Scholomance. That would be the Necropile. Necropile is a really good starter PvP set and it just has a lot of stats. It's really stat heavy. It has intellect, stamina, and spirit. And then, as you can see, if you complete the set bonus, you can get the resistances. You can get defense and stuff. Resistances are really nice. There's a lot of shadow damage that goes out in Scholomance. So, yeah. I mean, this is pretty much my offset. Thankfully, it actually looks pretty nice. And then I have an Anathema. Anathema carries me most of the way. It's enchanted with healing, but there's even better stabs than Anathema, in my personal opinion. So here we will go into Scholomance Star. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to mention is there's actually a quest line that starts with Ava Sarkov. She's an NPC that's right outside of Scholomance. And she starts a quest line called Dr. Thielen Krastenov the Butcher. If you finish that whole entire quest line, you get this little trinket called Spectral Essence, and it's really, really, really nice because when you equip it, you can actually see this vendor here will pop up, and he's able to repair your items. There's not actually any repair people in the Plaguelands, so it can be really difficult to go to a farm here and then have to go out and find a repair. So he's a really good way to repair your stuff, and you could sell your trash to him. He has money because there's some vendors like that they don't have for whatever reason you can't sell to them. So if you want to start that quest line, you would talk to Ava Sarkov right here. You go through a little bit of dialogue with her, and she has you kill Thielen, then you come back out. And you could do the whole quest line in one lockout, but yeah, it's a really, really nifty trinket to have. And then you also want the skeleton key, which is a quest reward that allows you to get into Scholomance. That's just, if no one's out here or anything, it's really nice to have. Okay, so first things first, we want Inner Fire and we want Fortitude. Now we're buffed up, we're going to sit and drink. So I kill all of these guys here. Now you can skip this dude if you really want to, because if you pull this guy, he will not pull. However, there's a lot of resetting and running out of the dungeon that happens during this farm, so just for the sake of being clean, I like to kill everybody. Start off with a ZHC into Shadow Word Pain into Mindflay. And I actually didn't show you guys my talents, but I'll show you here in a second what my talents are. I pretty much just run full shadow. All of my talent points are in shadow except for like 3 of them that I put into wands. And I really don't even use my wand that much, it's just there to be there. So while I'm sitting here, I'll kind of go through my talents. Look, I've got three talents in discipline for wands, but for the most part, it's all in um, what's it called? It's all in shadow. So this is Spirit Tap. This gives you 100%. That 100% of your bonus spirit regeneration continues after killing a target. It's really good at low levels. It's not quite so great at high levels. Blackout is a massive spell here. It's really good at interrupting, creating distance between you and your attacker. And especially if it's a caster, it's, it'll proc and it'll interrupt their spells, and it's really nice. Um, Reducing the threat generated by your spell, that's more of a dungeon thing. I don't really dungeon in my shadow set, but it's just there to be there in case I do find myself dungeoning with my guild. There's an improved Shadow Word Pain. Reduces, this is basically 10% hit on shadow spells. Shadow Weaving is a really good one. That gives you 15% increased shadow damage. Vampiric Embrace, which basically heals you for 30% of any shadow damage that you deal. Silence is pretty massive. So, yeah, it's just basically full shadow. And then, of course, shadow form. Alright, these ones pull together, so I'm going to start with a Shackle Undead on this one. And then I'm going to go into burning this one down. I didn't even start with CHC, that's my bad there. Bubble myself for the spell pushback, or just so I can get knocked down for free. And I'll show you real quickly here in a second too what you could do with Shackle Undead. Shackle Undead does not function like Polymorph does. Polymorph heals your target. Shackle Undead does not. So, a real quick example here. I may have to run out and reset this, but a real quick example is if I were to do a Mind Blast into a Mind Flay here and get damage on him, I can shackle him, right? His health will not regenerate. Now, Shackle Undead will be broken by damage, so Shackle Undead's only really good to do if you do not have Shadow Word Pain ticking. So that's something to be aware of, and you can actually apply Vampiric Embrace during Shackle, since it doesn't do damage or anything. But yeah, like if I'm like, oh man, I really need mana, I really need health or something, and there's not really much of an option for me, I can just shackle him and stand here. And that's really nice. He won't regenerate any health, he'll just stand there. Alright, so there's a patrol that goes by this door, and he actually just walked away. He's this guy. I'm going to mark him with a star. And then there's this patrol that goes up to that bookshelf they're walking away from right now. I'm going to mark them with triangle. There's one more patrol, this Risen Guard. He walks from under the staircase to kind of right next to the bookshelf. And he can pose an issue for you sometimes too. So we're just going to wait for this Risen Guard to get up here so that way we can pull him. I'm going to reapply my Inner Fire and some Shadow Protection. And I'm going to take out my little Siamese. So I let him get in front of this doorway here, and then I open up on him. Probably Probably should use ZHC. I always forget to use my ZHC. Apply Vampiric Embrace. One of the first things you want to do. I just, for some reason, don't. Vampiric Embrace is truly such a lovely spell. It heals for so much. So this next pack is kind of the roadblock between us and the next room here. And you're probably wondering, how do you clear these out? Well, it's very tedious, and unfortunately it requires resetting. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to mind control a target, and then we're going to run it under the staircase over here, so that way we don't get hit by the mana burn from the researcher. The researcher has a mana burn that, as it mana burns you, it will actually knock you back. And if it hits you, it will knock you out of the mind control channel, and that can pose a whole load of issues. Like, you'll immediately just drop mind control, and then you'll have, 4 mobs staring at you. So what I do is, as soon as this one walks away, I will mind control this acolyte here. I'll mark her with moon, and I'm going to run her under the stairs. That way I don't have line of sight of this guy, this researcher here, to hit me with his mana burn. So the first thing you do, and that patrol could not have come at a worse time, but that's okay. I'm just going to sit here. And then when she gets low, I'm going to release her so I can execute her, or attempt to. Alright. And we're running out. So we reset out here, we've dropped combat, go back in. That patrol is a paid actor, but you can let the mob die. It's just, if you don't get the killing blow on it, or really any participation in the kill, then the loot will drop and it's wasted. You can't loot it because the NPC actually did all the killing. So that's something to be mindful of. You can absolutely just let them die while they're under the effects of mind control. I'm just greedy, honestly, and I want the money. I want the cloth. You never know. It could be a T-Booze on there. So keep her right here. That Alkalight's coming back right now. Okay. Alright. I'm going to shackle Undead here, because I can kill the next one. Silence her, get her closer to me. I'm fresh out of mana. But mind you, the researcher's dead. I've got 5 stacks of Shadow Weaving and a Shadow Word Paint going on her, so she's not going anywhere. Just gonna wand her down. And then the Spectral Researcher is still shackled, so I can run out. I can reset and then come back in. You can see NIT's already told me I've made a gold here. That's the thing, is in this farm, unfortunately it is hit or miss on whether you get dark runes or not. I've gotten like 11. I've also gotten completely none. So at least they drop a lot of gold. They drop a lot of rune cloth. They drop a lot of BOEs, a lot of gray items. You could probably, if you're not getting any dark runes at all, and you clear out the entirety of the first 2 rooms that we're about to go into, you could probably make out with about 25 to 30 gold. So it's still a decent session in general. We're just going to kill this researcher here now. Give him your dots while you have your ZHC running. Turn around and hit him. Make sure you're not standing against the rails here because the knockback will send you flying. And you could, get launched below. Right, train some staff skills or wand skills. Okay, nice. So everything's dead, everything's ready for us to go into the next room. These will pull if you do not mind soothe them. And that's kind of where your hit comes in. You want a decent amount of hit, or just, kind of any hit to make sure that you don't get a resist. If your mind soothe resist, then, you'll have issues. So come in. As soon as you unlock this door, this mob will aggro. And sit and drink. This next room is where the dark runes will start dropping. However, you want to kill all of these undead that are sitting here in the middle, especially these risen guards. The risen guards, they don't really do much. They have a sunder armor and they will knock you down. But there is an evade spot that we're going to be making a lot of use of here coming up soon. And the risen guards, for whatever reason, if you go to the evade spot while you're in combat with a risen guard, it will teleport you to it. And then you'll no longer be at your evade spot and you'll die. So, just as a good rule, always kill all of the risen guards and kill the spiders, because the spiders can root you. And if you get rooted, you can't run to your evade spot. So, just as they go down the middle, you can actually walk directly through the middle of this room without pulling anything. You notice how I got a resist there. That wasn't a resist to my spell at all, that was a resist to my blackout. That was a resist to my Mind Blast. I'll just kill this guy. Hit him with wand. The Scourge Stones are really nice here. Oh, so let's say you're low on health or something, you're low on mana. Remember, you can shackle, and then you could just run away and do some regeneration. You just have to make sure that your Shadow Word Pain has fallen off. I already covered that, but I just wanted to give it another good example here while we're in it. Okay, so I think all of the undead are gone out of this room. Now our evade spot is in Kurtonos' room, which is this room right here, next to this bone pile. So we're going to kill this pack here. Now we start by killing the Dark Summoners first. So in order to kill the Dark Summoner first, you're actually going to capture it with Mind Control. And you want to make sure that the skeletons are not out whenever you start the Mind Control, because there's a chance that the skeleton just goes straight towards you and it knocks you out of Mind Control. So you have these guys fight for a little bit. Now the reason that you want to control the Dark Summoner and not the necrolyte is because the summoner will be spawning skeletons around the room. You see how these guys are spawning skeletons? And they will just keep they will just keep spawning them. So, unfortunately, as a summoner, you cannot summon your own Legion of Skeletons, but you could just sit here and take all the damage from the necrolyte. If you were to capture the necrolyte, what would happen is the Dark Summoner would spawn a bunch of skeletons on you and then overwhelm your necrolyte and then overwhelm you. Okay. Now, she's getting low health, so I'm going to turn her around. I'm going to drop her, and I'm going to kill her. I'm going to get out of line of sight, let this tick for a little bit, come back in, hit her with a Mind Flay. Anyways, if you were to capture the necrolyte, the Dark Summoner would just spawn a bunch of skeletons, and then the skeletons would overwhelm your necrolyte, and then your necrolyte would die, and you would get overwhelmed, because as a Shadow Priest, you don't have really any form of, what's it called? AoE. So the reason we killed this group first is because there's actually a reset spot right here in Cortonis' room, and it is this, right here. This whole general area behind this candelabra is a reset spot. Now, if they're a caster, they can still cast at you, so you don't want to like jump down and fear them or mind control them out. And I might show some examples of how to do that later, just depending on how wrong a pull goes. But there's some other evade spots for the most part. While we're here, we'll be using this one. So this pull is pretty much going to be the same, except there's a few little differences. You're going to capture the Dark Summoner, and immediately upon being the Dark Summoner, you're going to start casting Drain Life, so you can soak these damages that are incoming here. Then you're going to apply Curse of Blood, and then just auto-attack the Necrolyte. You usually can fish out 2 Drain Lives. Okay, I got 2 here. Once she gets to about 12%, kill her. Okay. Now here, what I would normally do if I didn't have the resources I did, is I would reset. And I'll probably show you how to do that in the next pool. I would reset, and then I would come back out and mind control one of these guys, and then make them fight each other until they're both low, and then kill both of them. But because I have the mana and I have the health to cover it, you could just come in here in line of sight and just, you know, cast Vampiric Embrace, heal through a lot of the damage. Priests have a lot of sustain. And that whole group is dead. Gotta check out what this serpent skin looks like. Oh, that's that's cute. That's really cute. Okay. Charge up, ready for the next one. So for this next one, maybe I'll do it. I'll do the reset method. It's pretty simple. Alright, so he just summoned a skeleton. I never like to start with a skeleton in combat. You just take unnecessary damage, and there's a chance that the skeleton runs past your summoner and just goes straight to you. I don't know why, but they will. So I'm going to get this one. Alright. She resisted, so don't even try it. Just go reset. And that's another thing that factors into why you want just a little bit of hit here. And see, she's just going to keep summoning skeletons. Now, they don't run over. Actually, I don't think she's even summoning them because we're evading. But they start at the bone pile and then they'll just run over. Alright. Back to this guy. Let me put up another Prayer of Shadow Protection and an Inner Fire. These guys, if they close on you in melee, they hurt. So selected Necrolyte and Drain Life. and Curse of Blood. Now you're going to auto attack until... Oh, the Curse of Blood didn't work. Auto attack until your next drain life. There it is. Sometimes the drain life can resist, and that doesn't really do anything. It just cuts down on the amount of time that you'll be able to be here or do damage. Okay, and kill. Now you could just like put a Shadow Word Pain on them and allow the damage to, you know, tick down. But in that time, they could get like 3 or 4 skeletons on you, and that can be a problem. Alright, line of sight this Shadow Bolt until she finishes the cast. Apply Vampiric Embrace for the healing. Shadow Bolt, line of sight. Easy, easy, easy. Again, if I didn't have the resources to finish off them like this, then what I would do is just reset, so that way it's just the 2 Necrolytes up, and then I would go in and mind control a Necrolyte, and then have it fight his ally. The Necrolytes have their own abilities. They have Shadow Bolt, Shadow Shock, and Shadow Barrier. Shadow Bolt is just a standard Shadow Bolt. Shadow Shock is basically a mid-ranged instant Shadow Bolt. It's honestly a really satisfying skill. If you play a Warlock, it's basically Shadow Burn, is what Shadow Shock is. And then Shadow Barrier actually completely negates a flat number of damage from Shadow spells. I think it's like 50 or something. And you can put it on yourself, like you can buff yourself with it. So mind control this one, and drain life. And Curse of Blood. Curse of Blood allows you to, it increases their physical damage taken by 58, so it allows you to pour in a lot of extra damage that you otherwise wouldn't be able to as you're sitting here waiting for this Dark Summoner to go down. Alright, drop him. Vampiric Embrace. Well, I didn't get to apply that in time, but you apply that. I like to run to the bottom of the stairs so that way whenever they get line of sight of me and they start casting, I could just step out of line of sight and they can't finish their Shadow Bolt. That peels off, you know, like over the course of a whole fight. Probably a good 1,000 damage or so. You can make use of silence here, but I personally feel like whenever they're casting, they're not actually attacking as often as they would if they were attacking me physically with their staff. So I like to let them sit at range and just load up a Shadow Bolt. I have Vampiric Embrace running, so it's not like I'm actually taking terribly much damage. Like I'm healing it all back. And oh, I was just about to say, I was like, these should be dropping dark runes. So every mob from this room and then every mob in the next room will drop a dark rune. Or they have a chance at dropping a dark rune. Now, you could get lucky and they could all be dropping dark runes and you could just be swimming in money. You could get unlucky like me in my last run and not a single dark rune will drop throughout the whole dungeon. It's just the RNG of it. So start off with a Drain Life into a Curse of Blood. I dropped, so don't even try to save it. Just go to your reset spot. Sometimes it's tricky. Sometimes you don't really realize that your mind control failed. Alright, combat's reset. He's going to run back here in a second. The Risen Lackeys are actually not attached to them. They're their own people. And they actually, like, just evade out. So that Risen Lackey is going to be there for a hot second. So we're just going to start with this one again. drain life in here. Heal myself up. Alright, I'm getting low here. So I'm going to turn around. Killer. Silence. Vampiric Embrace. Shadow Word Pain. You could do this holy for the smite and the heals and stuff, or you could do it shadow. I've done both. I've done both, and well, I wasn't really spec'd right. You have to be deep holy to really pull it off successfully, because most of your damage comes from smite, and I didn't feel like the damage was there for me to be executing my target in time. So I like to be shadow. And then again, shadow has a lot of sustain. You know, you could dot up a target with Shadow Word Pain, and then you can run around a corner, and you know they're not going to have access to. Okay, my drain life resisted here, so I have to drop this guy early. You could Shadow Word Pain, and then you just run around a corner, and since they don't have line of sight of you, they can't cast on you, but you still get all that damage, you still get all that health back. Whereas opposed to Holy, kind of got to rely on being able to cast on your target. Alright, Fear, Wand, Wand, Vampiric Embrace, Bubble, and then start damaging. You're going to heal through your damage. And what I could have done there is pop a ZHC. I actually still can here, and I have about one more. See how much health I got back already? Yeah, Shadow Priests have a lot of sustain. They just have a small mana pool. And you'll kind of learn that it takes like probably about 2,000 mana to kill one target. Alright, and so this whole entire room is done. Now some people would just stop the farm here. We've been in this instance for, I don't know how long. How long have we been in here for? Definitely more than 9 minutes and 48 seconds. I don't know what's going on with NIT today. Anyways, I feel like we've been in here for probably 30 minutes now, so you could absolutely reset here and then just go into the next Scholomance, and you're not at any risk of hitting your instance lockout. I personally like to challenge myself for whatever unknown reason, so I like to go into this next room and clear it out all here too, because these guys can all drop dark runes. This next room is a lot more challenging. You're going to have to do a lot more resets, and there's a lot more things going on. These Risen Protectors, for example, they will apply Shadow Word Pain to you, they will knock you down, and they will silence you. So you always want to have your defensives up, and you always want to have a damage over time effect on them. But yeah, so if you've watched up to this point in the video, that's pretty much the whole farm. What I'm doing from here on out is I'm going to show you how to completely kill everything in this next lobby here. Just if you want the extra dark runes or something. Maybe you found yourself in kind of like a cleared out instance after a Scholomance, and you're, looking at all these free juicy dark runes sitting around, and you want to figure out how to kill them. So I'll show you how to do that here. But this part's completely optional. Otherwise, you could have absolutely come out and reset and come back in at no risk to your time, at no risk to your instance lockouts. I just like to kind of limit test how far you can go in a dungeon, and I do the same thing with Dire Maul. Okay. Alright, so this guy, once he reaches the edge of his patrol here... Oh. I actually got a... That's bad. Oh! Messed myself up there. That skeleton, I grabbed him a little late. But once he reaches the very, very edge of his patrol, you can grab him with a Shadow Word Pain, and then you can drag him into the room and kill him without actually getting the adept across the hallway. I think I got the adept across the hallway because I accidentally dotted him. I don't think he was supposed to pull with that skeleton. But, yeah. And the nice thing about the Scholomance farm is if you die, you actually res basically, or your spirit comes back at Scholomance. Alright, so just buff yourself up as you run in. Just want to get back to where we were as quickly as possible. And remember to Mind Soothe, Mind Soothe, Mind Soothe, Mind Soothe. Okay, yeah, we've been in here 30 minutes. 30 minutes. NIT is correct now. Alright, I could have grabbed him there, but I was a little slow on the draw, so we're going to grab the other adept that killed me here. A little revenge killing. But he patrols from here to over here. So as soon as he's in the middle right here, we'll grab him. That's a necromancer. No, that's an adept. There we go. What you can do, if you want to, you could start off with a silence. I personally just like to put a dot on him and get out of line of sight. Vampiric Embrace. Here we go. Back up a little bit. I always forget how short range priests are. Silencing them to bring them into the hallway. Adepts and necromancers run away in fear once they reach a certain health threshold. So you want to make sure that they're not at risk of like running super far. Kind of drag them in before they get there. That protector, oh, just came back. I keep missing him. I'll give him a marker so that way I can know when he's coming up. So the next group we're killing is over here. Now these spectral tutors, they have an AoE silence. They will cast silence and you could just jump out of it, like you can move out of the way. And then they split when they reach a certain amount of health unless they're silenced. So I'll kind of show you how to do that here. I'm going to grab this adept because I don't like the adepts personally. Wait. Yeah, there we go. Grab the adept. Stay out of line of sight of that necromancer because they have a shadow bolt volley that will hit you. And it'll, you know, knock out your channeling time. Alright, that guy's coming in. Shackle the tutor. Vampiric Embrace on this guy. Get out of line of sight if you can't help it. Get out of line of sight of the adept. I just put a Shadow Word Pain on her. Alright, they're both dead. This tutor, I don't have enough mana to kill him. Well, I probably do, but I don't want to gamble with it. So I'm just going to break his crowd control, and then I'm going to go over to the reset spot and let him reset. Now, if you wanted to, if you don't even want to deal with him, you don't want to kill him, you don't have to. He doesn't drop dark runes. He's just more of a nuisance to me because I like to use the entire area, so I'm going to make sure to kill him. Loot your Necromancer, loot your Adept, check the Mogs. Looks nice. Okay. Now let's see if I can get lucky with this guy and get him back on his way. Yep, he's on his way. He's going to reach the very end of his patrol. About right there. And dot him. And I'm running as I'm applying my dots so that way he's not getting any closer. It gives me more time to cast my spells before he gets close and starts to, you know, stagger my spells and stuff. See, they just hit really hard. Okay. I want to create some distance here. So Shackle Undead. Notice he doesn't heal. This works exactly like Mage Polymorph, except he just doesn't heal. I can just kill him. Alright, that's one of the patrols down. I think there's 3 more patrols in this room, but for the most part, they don't actually come up here. Oh, see? Yep, that's why I like to kill that guy. I am forgetful, and I will, I'll just walk into them. Apply a Shadow Word Pain. It's going to break the shackle, and then I'm going to jump up here. You can still evade while a target is shackled. It's just that it takes longer for the game to like register like, oh, he's evading combat, but he's shackled, so he can't really evade, and it's just this whole thing. So sometimes, you know, it'll take like 30 seconds to a minute to drop combat if the target is shackled, whereas opposed to if they're not shackled, they'll just immediately realize, oh, I can't access that target, and then they'll go back home. So, just to recap, the tutors, they have the AoE silence. As you just saw, I like jumped away from the silence, and then they have their mechanic where they split. Now, I've not proven this to 100% fullness or whatever, but I am 98% sure that they cannot split if they are silenced. So, and I think they really only like to split at like sub 50, especially 25% health. So start with a ZHC into a Mind Blast into Shadow Word Pain, Mind Flay. Alright. Get a nice in here and silence him. And Mind Flay him. This is the time where you want to burn him. Perfect. Now the room's clean. Alright, so there's 2 of these packs in this room. And what I mean by these packs is 4 packs. There's one here, and there's one over there. The rest of them are 3 packs. These are probably the hardest packs that you're going to have to deal with. And this patrol here can absolutely get you killed if you're fighting this pack at the wrong time. Like if I were to be fighting this pack right now, that patrol would pull, and then he would actually pull a group that's to the left of him. So we're going to start with the Necromancer is who I'm going to grab. I like to grab the Necromancers because they have a Shadow Bolt volley, and although you don't want to use it, I'm actually going to, if you're worried about going in too close, what you can do is you can Mind Soothe, and then you can go in closer, much, much closer, and then start your mind control. They have a move called Corpse Explosion. I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get it to work. If you know something, please tell me. Alright, I dropped combat. Target yourself and then just keep spamming Dispel, Dispel, Dispel. Fear. So that way you don't get dazed. know where my train of thought was. Oh yes, they have Corpse Explosion, and then they have a move called Shadow Bolt Volley. Shadow Bolt Volley, you really don't ever want to use it, because it shoots out in every direction. It'll shoot out behind you, it'll shoot out to the side, to the front. It basically is a complete 360 spell that will shoot everything in like 40 yards. So, you only want to use it when you know that you have no other enemies in line of sight, or you're certain that you can take on whatever it's going to hit. It'll even hit critters. Like, it targets everything. So, recharge here. That was a really unlucky mind control resist, but that's fine. We're just going to try it again. Alright, so again, these ones are flipped in such a way that I can't really get there by normal means. So start off with casting a Mind Soothe, and then find your target and hit him with Mind Control. Make sure to get the aggro on them. And you could probably drag him back to like a little line of sight spot where, you know, you could hit him with a Shadow Bolt Volley, but it's not worth the risk. Alright, he's at 10%. Kill him. Target yourself, hit yourself with Dispels. Hit yourself with Dispels. Get out of line of sight of the cast. Find a corner. Find the low adept. Hit him with a Shadow Word Pain and a Vampiric Embrace. Hit him with a Psychic Scream just for fun. Just to style on him. And then hit him with a Mind Flay. Alright, let's see what kind of health she's at. She's actually pretty high health. And I don't feel like doing shenanigans to like get her killed. Or to, you know, kill her with this little mana. So I'm just gonna reset here. I could keep her feared, I could hit her with like Shadow Word Pain. Just run around, do a bunch of tricky line of sights with her, but I'd rather just kill her. So we'll reset. This Necrofiend will pop up here about 15 minutes after you clear out this room. So again, hit him with the Shadow Word Pain, wait for the Shackle to fall off. Shackle just fell off, and then back up. The Necrofiend, as far as I know, he doesn't respawn once you kill him. So once I kill this guy, this room should be safe. Actually, no, I think he does. I think he respawns about 30 minutes after. But that was really lucky that he respawned right at that moment. He will walk all over this room, and he has a root. So if you're running to your reset spot and he roots you, you're pretty cooked. So you always want to make sure that he's not there. Just kill him. Did I loot the... Oh yeah, I looted that one. Okay. Out of line of sight, drag her back a little bit. silence her, make her walk over here, because she's about to start running. Alright, Triangle's about to walk over this way. We're going to get mana real quick so that way we can kill Triangle. Once we kill Triangle, that opens up a lot of the room for us just because his patrol is really erratic. And we're also about to get this patrol over here too, which works out really well. It's just that I have no mana, so maybe it didn't work out all that well. But he rolled pretty far up in here, so. I actually need to back up here. I'm gonna shackle him and wait for a second. Give it a little MP5. He just has a really, really long patrol, and I don't want to lose him, because otherwise I'll be waiting around on him, so. I'll let myself get about to like 4,500 mana or so. Okay, we're good here. Open up on him. Started with a really nice blackout. That gives me about another... Never mind, no it doesn't. I was gonna say that gives me another extra spell cast, but apparently not. There we go. It's a lot of the dangerous patrols here gone. Alright, so we can go in. So we've gotten the spider that walks around the corners, and then the skeleton, he kind of goes in like an L, and then up this way. So now we're free to kill this group. This group is a problem group, or they can be. So the Necromancer, again, they shoot out that Shadow Bolt volley. So what I want to do here is I actually want to be just out of line of sight. Just line of sight enough that I can capture this adept, and then back against the wall. Flat up against the wall. That way this Necromancer, if they cast their Shadow Bolt volley, it actually won't hit me, because they're not in line of sight of me. Alright. Get ready. Alright. And then the Tutor, I'm going to shackle. Yep. I'm actually getting pretty low here, so I'm just going to reset. I don't know if... Yeah, okay. She can't hit me here. Alright, and we're reset. That could have gone a lot better, except I got hit with a few unfortunate frost bolts that caused me to slow down. And I was a little late on the shackle. So again, now we've peeled it down to a 3-pack, and this is much more manageable. So all you're gonna do here is see how he kind of goes left to right here? Whenever he goes to the left, I think I can get close enough that I can capture the Necromancer, and it won't be such an issue for me. But if not, in the interest of saving time, I'll just grab the Adept. And I'm going to fight the Necromancer. before this tutor silences me. See, I just got hit by that Shadow Bolt volley. I'm coming up on 7%. Alright, Shackle. And now I can kill this Necromancer. Now he's still shackled, we're safe, and if he breaks out of his shackle, I can shackle him again. But I'm just gonna go grab this loot before it despawns. Purple loot has a really long despawn timer, green loot has about, I want to say 10 or 15 minutes, maybe more, and then white loot has about 5 minutes or so. But there's a lot of really decent white loot, especially armor and stuff. But regents, mana potions, you don't want those just going into the nether. So just loot as soon as you can. See, notice how I've been in combat for a while. I forgot to break the shackle. All right. And now we're just going to kill a Spectral Tutor. I'm going to pop my ZHC, Mind Blast, Shadow Word Pain, Mind Flay. Get out of the silence. Alright, we're coming up on the threshold where he should go down and silence him. Just so he doesn't split. Okay, now here we have this skeleton that walks in the middle. Now if I just capture one of these guys and keep them where they're standing, or let's say like the adepts stay there casting, they will get aggro on him and then he will run over and he will be an issue. So what I do is capture the Necromancer here and then run it into the corner. Over here. Because that adept there is not actually in range to get threat on the protector. Alright, the tutor just split into all of his projections. And killer. I'm silenced. There we go. I can kill her. Alright, and then apply a Shadow Word Pain and run and do the reset. Now we're coming up on a new reset spot here that's a little bit easier. Well, it's a little bit more difficult to get to. It requires a very careful jump, but it's much closer. So I'll show you that reset here in a second, because that group that we just killed is right in front of it. Again, they should be dropping dark runes, and sometimes they don't. That's just kind of the gamble you have to take in your solo Scolomances, but it's nice to not have anybody in your way. or just to play alone sometimes. The nice thing about these mega servers is there's a lot of people, the community's big, or at least if you're in the right guild, the community's big and it's popping. But more often than not, when you're trying to go out into the wild and you're trying to kill humanoids or grab herbs or grab nodes like for raid supplies, it's always contested. Like you are sharing Fellwood with 52 other people at 3 in the morning. It's never empty. Um, there's always people there, and it gets a little irritating sometimes. And there's a lot of bots. Um, so the dungeons are kind of like a little haven for me. Get away from the silence. The dungeons are like a little haven for me. I don't have to be around people, especially like silence. Anyone trying to get in my way, I could just be here. I could be doing chores. I could step away, go do something real quick, come back, and it's nice. All right, that patrol is circling back around. Whenever he gets over here again, like right here, is where I want to grab him from. But yeah, so I've got this farm and I've got my warlock farm. I'll try to find another farm, maybe that I could do on priest or on warlock. I find them to be a lot of fun, especially the elites. Remember to be creating distance as you apply your dots between globals. Alright, this room just got a lot easier. So here we've got a necromancer and 2 adepts. We're just going to capture the necromancer. Again, we're not using Shadow Bolt Volley here. We can use it on the next pull, but not this pull. And run this girl a little bit closer to us, so that way whenever I get ready to drop her. Alright, drop her. Reapply a shield. Dispel. 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 Around the corner. Peek out. Apply your dots. Behind the corner. Fear. Now she's pretty much full health, so again, just gonna go to the reset spot here. I could absolutely just juggle her with a Shadow Word Pain and a Vampiric Embrace and a lot of Wand and some Fear and some corners, but I also don't need to, so I could just reset, get my full mana back, kill her fast. Right, Adept. Grab this one while they're in the middle, while they're transitioning. I'm not going to waste the mana on a spell here. I'm just going to find my corner. I like to get a few staff hits in. Been leveling my benediction. Oh, one dark rune. Hopefully the luck picks up, but yeah, sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. This next pull can easily turn into a double pull if you don't do it properly. So you're actually not going to start off with mind control. You're going to start off with a shackle undead and shackle his tutor. And then you're going to drag them back to the other room and either kill them or mind control and have one grab the aggro. And I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So we're going to get max range that we can, and we're going to shackle one. And then we're going to run. See this necromancer here? We're going to go around the corner. Start casting mind control. See how she immediately got the aggro? And then we can start casting Shadow Volley if we want to. Now that's the thing that you do if you don't have, you know, like the resources, the mana, the spell power or something to control this fight. Otherwise, you're completely fine to just outright kill both of them. I could do that here right now, but this is just kind of an example to show you that, yes, you can kill this pack like this if you can't start off with a Shadow Bolt, with a mind control. You can also, mine's about to die here, so kill her. Tutors arrive just in time. Shackle him, and then back onto the adept. Now I'm going to try to save my mana here, so that way I can kill this tutor. Maybe get to around 4,000. Alright, here I am, gonna pop a ZHC. Silence him. Make sure he doesn't split. Alright, and that group is done. So now this is just the single pull, this is the quadruple that I was telling you about earlier. That's kind of the same as the one from before. And so we actually have an adept and two necromancers. Well, yeah, an adept and two necromancers here. So we'll be doing the same thing that we did the first time, which is basically, you know, killing one and resetting. We're going to grab a necromancer. I'm going to pre-shield myself just in case I get hit by a stray bubble or something. Alright, she's silenced. Alright, she's about to go down, and kill her. Kill her fast. Let's see if I can get to this reset spot here. Could also just die. So I could have gone back to the other location, but that one's just further, and I didn't feel like going that far. So that's where the reset spot was that I mentioned like 15 minutes ago that I forgot about. You just jump directly on top of that pile of books there, the tippy tippy top, and then jump onto this shelf here, and then back into this corner. Once you're on this shelf, they'll stop walking towards you, but generally they'll be in range to cast on you. But once you walk into this corner, they have no path to you, and at that point you should be out of range of them. So that's now a standard and doable 3-pack. So we're going to grab the Necromancer, that way I don't get knocked out of combat. And then we're going to pour as much damage as we can into the Adept. Alright, we're coming up on 20%, 17, 13, kill him. He resisted my shackle. Hit her with a Vampiric Embrace, Shadow Word Pain. Bubble yourself. Mind Flay, see if you can get any kind of blackout on her. Silence her so she runs closer before she starts running away in fear. And then bomb her down. This guy's about to break in 2 seconds because he's going to take an instance of damage. Let's load up another shackle. There we go. And loot before your bodies despawn. Alright, now we got 40 seconds to perfect how well we can jump. So, again, right on top of this pile of books here. And then jump and kind of go forward. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. There we go. Jump as you're going forward, and then jump. Alright. Back to the old grind. Killing this group now. Necromancer and an Adept. I think I can cast Shadow Bolt Volley over here. I think I'm not within 30 yards. Let's see. No, I can't because I'm silenced. Maybe that worked out. Maybe that was for the better of the world. Alright, just wait until I get to 12%. Kill. Shackle. Out of the line of sight. Back in the line of sight. Mind Flay. Very nice. Silencer. Now I got 2 tutors up. Again, you can kill them if you want to. I personally have no motivation to kill them. I probably will anyways. But just trying to show you how to get through these last few packs here. See if I can hit him with the wand and break him out of the shackle. Nice. and then back over here. Alright, 2 groups left that can drop dark runes. And we got none. We got none so far. And that's generally why people do like to cut off over there in that other room, is because this room it's time consuming. You know, and it's a lot of work, it's intense. But each of these mobs can drop dark runes. So it can actually have a bigger payoff than the other room. It's just gotta really be on your game here. Sometimes you don't want to be. Out of the silence. And then silence. I think they use that more as like a defensive ability. Like my warlock has so much gear and she can two-shot things, and she still can't bomb those down before they use their split. And I think it's just because like as they get lower, they have a higher chance of using it. Alright, so this time I'll grab the Necromancer and show you guys what the Shadow Belt Volley looks like. It's a satisfying spell, but it's dangerous. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna be silenced the whole time. Yep. Alright, we're about to go down. Shackle. Out of line of sight. Loot him. And reset. So we'll have 3 goats. Yeah, I could kill him. I probably will kill him after the video, but for the sake of time, I'm just trying to clear out everything here. Yeah, priests are this is the dark side of priests, I would consider it. They're such a fun class, but you know, people really only see them as healers or shadow priest. And no one really wants to play with shadow priest unless you're a warlock for some reason, so it's a shame. Plus, you don't really there's no reason to do this in grouped content. I'm about to get hit with a shadow ball volley here. That's okay. I resisted it. Let's see if I can. Ew. Did my guy die? Oh, I wasn't paying attention to his health. Ah, man, I wasn't paying attention. No, there was my dark rune. Just go into this room. There might be a spider in here. There is a spider in here. Fear her. And I'm out of mana, so I could drink a mana pot. I don't want to do that because I did that last time I was in here. So I'm going to try to reset. got too distracted. I wasn't paying attention to my little necromancer's health. I was having too much fun with the shadow bolt volley. And they go down really quick. They're actually much squishier than you think. Oh, okay. Not amazing. Honestly, I would say that was a paid actor.
I need to get closer.
Break the shackle. Back in position. Should reset. There we go. That's one of the spiders that spawns in here too. I don't know what his trigger is, like his spawn condition though. Wonder if I can stealth this. Well, I probably can't because I have a dot on me. But that's okay, I can just get down. Alright, let's just kill her and then we're good to go. ZHC is really nice too if you want some extra heals, just because of Vampiric Embrace. Alright, so that's that. Now I'm gonna go tally up our total. See how much money we did or didn't make. So if I look at NIT here, I've made 10 gold since I've been in here. Make sure to get the Mind Soothe on this guy. Sometimes these skeletons here will have respawned. So I've made 10 gold just in raw items, or in raw gold. So let's see how much I made in trash. So again, we'll equip this. And the Spectral Essence, you actually want to equip it when you're in Cardero, not when you're outside of Cardero. Otherwise, you're going to be like, where's the blacksmith? He only spawns if you equip it within render distance of him. I don't know what the science is. I just learned that. I don't know how much gold I started at, but we just sold what? 2 gold? Probably 82 gold. Alright, so all said and done, we got about 13 gold from our trash items. 14 gold from our trash items. So 14 plus 10, 24 gold, 24, 25 gold. Last haul was 30 gold. Unfortunately, only one dark rune. Yikes. Um, yeah, I did get a few Essence of Undeath, crafting items and stuff, and a lot of Scourge Stones. So that's one of the farms I do on my Priest. I personally really love my Warlock farm for Dire Maul. So yeah, that's a few things that you can do on Priest. And then the other thing I like to do for mind control shenanigans is head down to Tyr's Hand over here, play Pokemon with the guys down there and have them kill each other and just, loot if I'm just relaxing or something. Anyways, I hope this was informative. Till next time.